Sometimes life demands that we learn to hold ourselves together from within, because there won't always be someone nearby to understand us, console us, or save us, especially when what hurts is invisible and lives deep inside our own mind. That's why Stoic philosophy has endured for centuries. It doesn't promise a perfect world, but it teaches you how to face any world with greater clarity, greater strength, and deeper inner peace. In this video, I've gathered 12 powerful lessons from Stoic wisdom, profound, practical, and transformative, designed to help you rediscover your balance, even on the hardest days. Lessons written to fortify character, manage anxiety, endure pain, and cultivate the courage to keep moving forward, even when everything seems to be falling apart. If you feel you need more firmness and wisdom to live, this video is for you. So if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe, leave a like, and turn on notifications. Now, let's begin. 1. What others say about you does not define you. If someone tells you that another person is speaking ill of you, don't justify yourself over what was said. Simply reply, "They had even more flaws to mention. If they knew me better, they wouldn't have stopped at those." Epictetus. Hearing that someone has spoken badly of you hurts. It's an invisible blow that lands precisely where we're most fragile, our desire to be accepted, admired, and valued. Sometimes it's not even someone close. It could be a coworker, a distant relative, or even a random comment on social media, but still it sticks. You try not to give it importance, yet the phrase echoes inside. Could it be true? Why did they say that about me? By instinct, your first reaction is to defend yourself, to prove they're wrong. But every time you try to correct the image others have of you, you forget who you truly are. Stoicism offers another path, a stronger one, the path of maturity. It doesn't tell you to respond, nor to stay silent out of pride. It invites you to laugh lightly, to observe with clarity, to answer with awareness, because someone who knows who they are doesn't waver because of what others say. Imagine a solid rock in the middle of a storm. Rain falls, wind howls, but the rock remains, steady, unshaken. That's the effect of someone who has built an inner foundation. Nothing from outside can topple what has been consolidated from within. But to reach that point, you must be whole inside. You need deep roots, because someone who knows their own worth doesn't live trying to prove anything to anyone. Criticism exists, but that doesn't make it truth. It's just noise. And noise doesn't change what is real. It's like distant barking while you walk focused on your destination. You hear it, but you don't stop. You perceive it, but you don't react, because you know diverting your attention is what truly delays you. Think of a banknote, crumpled, torn, dirty on the ground. Would you pick it up? Of course, because its value remains unchanged. You are the same. No insult has power over someone who knows their own worth. You are not the reflection of others' words. You are the reflection of your journey, your inner strength, everything you've silently overcome. True growth isn't just about increasing your income or achieving things. It's becoming a more lucid, balanced, and free person. When you grow from within, criticism loses its power, not because you've become stone, but because now you understand it's not worth spending energy on what doesn't build. There are people who speak but don't know, who judge but haven't lived your story. You don't have to react to everything. Sometimes your silence speaks louder than 1,000 words, and it is this silence that reveals your true strength, the strength of someone who chose peace over war, direction over distraction. Your life changes when you decide to focus on what strengthens you, when you stop seeking approval and begin seeking evolution, when you replace resentment with clarity, reaction with awareness. In the end, that's what protects you, not from criticism, but from the poison it activates within you. If this resonated with you, write in the comments, "My focus is on what builds, never forget. You are not what they say." You are everything you've already overcome. 2. Decide who you are, or chaos will decide for you. Epictetus was direct. Adopt the differentiation of roles. One of the greatest causes of our confusion isn't lack of ability, it's excess of direction. We want everything at once, but we refuse to give up anything. We seek the benefits of one path, but flee the price it demands. We want freedom, without responsibility, growth, without discomfort, recognition, without real effort. And this is how we enter war with ourselves. It's like someone who says they want a deep relationship, but acts as if they're still single. Someone who dreams of starting a business, but waits for the security of a fixed salary. Someone who wants children, but complains about the weight of responsibility. Someone who asks for peace, but feeds conflict every day. Someone who wants to change, but clings fiercely to old habits. Epictetus confronts us with a simple, liberating truth. You must choose. And more than that, you must honor the role you've decided to take on. Being a parent, partner, professional, friend, it's not about the title. It's about the attitude. When you truly commit, everything aligns. Confusion gives way to clarity. Your actions stop contradicting each other. Your energy, instead of scattering in 1,000 directions, becomes whole. Think of a beam of light. Scattered, it illuminates little. Concentrated, it can pierce steel. Your energy works the same way. The more focus, the more power. But while you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nobody to yourself. You live half-heartedly. You talk a lot, deliver little. You want to advance, but walk in circles. Little by little, you lose yourself in your own excess. Stoicism calls you back to the essential. It reminds you that maturity means understanding. You can't have everything at once, but you can live well what life offers you now, even if it hurts, even if it scares you, even if it demands sacrifice. Maturity is this: to move forward with courage, even when the easy choice is to flee. It's understanding you don't control the world, but you always choose how you position yourself within it. Though you share your life with many, there is only one role that is irreplaceable: being yourself. You can care, support, inspire, but you cannot control anyone. The only thing under your power is your attitude, your choice, your action. There will be days when you must smile inside, even if you're exhausted outside. When you must stay calm when everything provokes you, or simply respect someone's silence without assuming it's your fault. Every moment is a test, and Stoicism is your training. Living with awareness of your roles isn't limiting, it's strengthening. It's stepping out of the fog. It's stopping blaming the world for the chaos you yourself created by trying to please everyone. It's looking at yourself honestly and asking, what is true for me? And from there, live with integrity, even if it discomforts some. When you understand who you are, what you're here for, and where you want to go, your presence changes. You gain firmness, clarity, direction. And when you live this way, nothing that happens outside can disrupt what is firm within you. 3. Silence the excess. Your mind needs space to breathe. You're not weak. You're not stuck. You're just trying to move forward with a saturated mind. Imagine a navigator with 10 windows open at once. One with problems that haven't passed yet, another with old arguments, another with demands that aren't yours, one with comparisons, and another with fears about the future. It's like running with a backpack full of stones. Every unresolved thought becomes a weight. Every unprocessed emotion becomes an invisible obstacle. You keep walking, but your exhaustion is doubled. The path grows more confusing. The result? Nothing flows. Everything gets stuck. You want to advance, but carry too much weight. You want clarity, but your vision is congested. Epictetus said, "Freedom begins within," and that means, above all, cleaning the mental clutter that prevents you from seeing what truly matters. Sometimes, advancing isn't taking another step. It's stopping, closing some windows, reclaiming focus on what truly moves you. You cannot rebuild your life if your attention is completely scattered. You cannot hear your own intuition if your mind is too occupied with noise from outside. So begin the most difficult and most liberating practice. Choose what you will ignore. Ignore what doesn't depend on you. Ignore the voice of fear disguised as prudence. Ignore the noise of the world trying to confuse you. Ignore criticisms that don't build. Ignore dramas that aren't yours. Ignore standards that don't reflect your values. And above all, ignore that inner voice that only reminds you of your failures, never your triumphs. Return to the essential, because it is in silence that your direction reappears. When you clear the excess, you see the path again, and finally, you move forward. 4. You're not lost. You just need to remember what keeps you standing. Life turns upside down. In the first impact, it seems like everything has collapsed. You freeze, your chest tightens. That old thought appears, I won't be able to handle this. But honestly, Epictetus invites us to look with more honesty. Before declaring yourself defeated, it's worth remembering. You've faced other falls before. You've cried until you fell silent. You've thought it was the end, and yet you kept going. What you may lack isn't strength, it's memory. You've forgotten everything you've already built inside, and every new challenge seems gigantic because you've forgotten the size of your own story. It's as if your courage is locked in a drawer, and in the midst of desperation, you've lost the key. But the truth is, it's still there. The key is to stop, breathe, and look inside, not outside. Breathe deeply. Place your hand on your chest. Say, calm. I've been through worse. I just need to remember who I am when I'm not afraid. You have patience, even when you think you don't. You have focus, even when chaos screams. You have resilience, even if it's asleep. The Stoic practice is this. Open your invisible toolbox and ask sincerely, what do I already have inside me that can help me now? Maybe it's a lesson you learned in pain, a habit that served you in the past, a decision you postponed, and now needs to be made. All of that is already with you. It only needs to be reactivated. You won't always find a perfect solution, but you'll find a point of support, a first step, an anchor. And that changes everything, because someone who has an inner anchor walks again, even when everything outside seems uncertain. It's like being adrift in the open sea, not knowing which way to go, until you find a forgotten compass at the bottom of your pocket. You haven't arrived yet, but now you know which way to row. Epictetus said, luck is the meeting of preparation and opportunity. But there's an even greater luck, when chaos finds you, and you discover you were already prepared, not because you predicted everything, but because you learned to trust yourself. True strength doesn't shout, it holds, and it lives there, even if you've forgotten where you stored it. 5. Don't enter the game without knowing how to win. When you see someone succeed, it's tempting to think, they got lucky. But what you didn't see was how much that person trained behind the scenes, how many times they fell, bled, wanted to give up, and still returned. How many times no one applauded, no one noticed, no one believed, and yet they continued. Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And real life has a cruel irony. It never announces when that meeting will happen. Opportunity doesn't arrive knocking on your door with a sign that says, here I am. Sometimes it appears in the middle of chaos, in the layoff that forces you to change, in the relationship that ends and forces you to grow, in the obstacle that seems like a punishment but opens your path. It's like an actor rehearsing non-stop, even though they don't know when they'll step on stage. They don't wait for an invitation to begin. They prepare because they know that when the curtain rises, there won't be time to memorize the lines. They'll have to be ready. This is how life works. Whoever waits for the perfect moment never moves, but whoever lives in preparation transforms every opportunity into a leap. Stoicism teaches this: train today with what you have, where you are, because life doesn't follow a script. It improvises. And your role is to be so aligned with yourself that even in the midst of chaos, you know what to do. So accepting the present isn't resignation, it's wisdom. Because the time you spend wishing things were different is time you could be using to strengthen yourself. Whoever trains every day, even on ordinary days, finds stability even when everything becomes disordered. Because the greatest luck isn't when everything goes well, it's when you're so prepared inside that anything that happens becomes fuel. 6. Learn not to break inside. You can be struck and still remain whole. That is true strength. It's not about never falling. It's about falling without losing yourself, tripping without disarming yourself, feeling without shattering inside. When life tests you, Seneca said, "The invulnerable isn't the one who is never touched, but the one who isn't wounded by what touches them." And that changes everything. Because the world will strike you. There will be malicious criticism, injustices, losses, chaos. That silence that hurts more than a scream. That look that seems to erase you. That absence that becomes an open wound. But what will define your path isn't what strikes you. It's what you do with it. There are people who break inside from the slightest impact, and others who bend, feel, suffer, but don't break. It's like a steel bridge that's flexible. It moves with the wind, but doesn't collapse, because it was built on a deep foundation. A foundation made of self-knowledge, firm values, convictions that don't dissolve with the opinion of others. You also need that foundation, because as long as every word pulls you from your center, as long as every surprise makes you question everything, you're living at the mercy of circumstances, not your own decisions. Stoicism teaches exactly this. You don't need to react to everything. You don't have to turn every discomfort into drama. You don't have to treat every provocation as truth. Not every attack deserves a response. Some things deserve your strength. Others, simply your silence. When you learn this, your emotional responses change. You stop hurting yourself over what isn't worth it, and begin to save your energy for what truly matters. You begin to choose your battles with wisdom, not emotional need. To be invulnerable in the Stoic sense isn't to shut yourself off from the world, it's to open up, but without losing yourself. To feel everything, without letting it shatter you inside. Seneca isn't asking for coldness, he's inviting you to maturity, because only those who learn to remain whole, even after being struck, truly advance. 7. Not all movement is progress. There are people who move constantly, but don't advance. They fill their day, complete tasks, answer messages, make plans, but inside they remain the same. It's like a treadmill, lots of effort, no displacement. And the most dangerous part? The feeling that you're progressing, when in reality, you're just spinning in place. Seneca said, "True philosophy implies progress, and that demands a step much harder than it seems. Stop lying to yourself, because it's not time that makes you grow. It's how awake you are. It's how much courage you have to look inward and admit, I haven't evolved here yet." The Stoics knew that there's no progress without discomfort, no wisdom without internal confrontation, and no one truly advances while they keep blaming the world and justifying themselves. Progress isn't about having more, it's about being more conscious of what still needs healing, more present in what truly matters, more aligned with what you say you value, even when no one is watching. It's like tuning an instrument. You don't tune it by shouting or by impulse. You tune it by stopping, listening, perceiving the noise, and adjusting. Evolution begins there, in the discomfort of listening closely to yourself, in the humility of admitting you're still out of tune, and in the courage to change the tone. The true Stoic doesn't perform, they polish. They don't need to appear wise, They live as someone in constant revision because they understood growth isn't something that happens by luck. It's a choice repeated every day, in silence, from the inside out. 8. Have an inner refuge. Where opinion, fear, and chaos cannot enter, imagine an inner room, only yours, a quiet, firm, impenetrable space. There, no criticism reaches you, no comparison weakens you, no outside opinion defines who you are. Seneca said, "No noise reaches you, no word pulls you from your center." That's the peace everyone desires, but few dare to build, because it doesn't arise by chance. It arises from training, from rituals that keep you present, from boundaries you learn to impose, from silent decisions no one sees, but that save you every day. It's not about isolating yourself, it's about aligning yourself. It's learning to return to yourself when everything tries to tear you away. It's knowing how to quiet the rush, turn off the excess, breathe in the midst of chaos, and not let it drag you away. The Stoic mind is like a fortress with open windows. It observes the world, but doesn't get contaminated. It listens, but doesn't absorb everything. It feels, but chooses what to believe, because it understands that focus is a force, and every force needs protection. Marcus Aurelius said, "I force my mind to return every time it wanders." That is discipline. It's realizing you've gone too far and choosing to come back. Back to the hour, to what depends on you, to what truly matters. It's not the noise that makes you lose your way. It's when you start running after it. The peace you seek isn't in a world that falls silent, but in you, learning not to confuse yourself with the noise. Whoever learns this doesn't advance by impulse. They advance with awareness and remain whole, even when everything around them seems to collapse. 9. Be clear about what you expect. Everyone has something to say. Everyone believes they know what's right, what's fair, what would be ideal. But few live what they preach. Marcus Aurelius was clear. Stop talking about how a good person should be, and be one. Enough speeches, enough hiding behind beautiful phrases, while your behavior remains small. If you want to be a better person, you don't need to announce it. Just begin in silence, in the details. In that moment when no one will see, but you will know. Because what changes the world isn't words. It's consistent attitudes. It's quiet, just decisions. It's kindness towards someone who has nothing to offer you. It's keeping your word when it would be easy to pretend you forgot. It's saying, "I was wrong," without anyone needing to pressure you. The Stoic isn't a perfect character. They're a human willing to correct themselves, willing to be coherent when it would be easier to be convenient. The strength they carry doesn't make noise. It's noticed in integrity, in self-control, in that quiet firmness. They aren't moved by applause. They're guided by principles. And that's what truly moves you forward, not the image you project, but the truth you carry inside. Life changes when you stop wanting to convince others and begin to inspire simply by living with honesty. In the end, that's it. Coherence returns respect. Truth returns peace. And peace gives you a strength no mask can sustain. 10. Integrity is doing what's right even when you're alone. Marcus Aurelius said, "In every place, at every moment, you have a choice." And perhaps that is one of the most powerful truths of Stoicism. You don't control everything, but you can always choose how you respond. And those choices, almost always silent, shape everything. You can accept what happened, or waste your energy fighting what already is. You can act with justice, or vent your rage on someone who isn't to blame. You can observe your thought, or let yourself be dragged by it as if it were a sentence. These are decisions no one applauds, no one notices, but they are precisely these that build who you are becoming. The true Stoic doesn't live on stage, they train in the wings. They pay attention to how they speak to the cashier at the bakery, how they handle frustration, how they correct themselves when no one is watching. To be stoic is to cultivate clear intentions in the midst of chaos, to resist the automatic impulse to react and respond with awareness, to learn that your peace depends more on the quality of your choices than on external circumstances. That's why the Stoics trained in 3 disciplines: accept what you cannot control, act with justice, even when there's no reward, observe your own thoughts before turning them into reality. This isn't passivity, it's organized preparation and strength. Galen once said, "Destiny guides those who are willing and drags those who resist." In other words, whoever accepts with wisdom flows. Whoever resists out of pride hurts themselves. To be stoic isn't to not feel, it's to feel everything and still choose with clarity. Because every moment brings an invitation, and whoever learns to accept, act, and think with presence doesn't live at the mercy of the world, they live at the height of their own conscience. 11. Don't try to carry the whole mountain at once. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't overwhelm yourself with the vision of your entire life. Ask yourself before each challenge, what is unbearable about this?" That simple, direct question has the power to save your sanity, because often what breaks you isn't the problem itself, it's the weight of everything mixed together. The past you still carry, the future that hasn't arrived, the fears you invented along the way. You look ahead, and everything seems too big, but it's not because it's impossible, it's because you're trying to climb the mountain by staring directly at the summit. You freeze, not because you're weak, but because you're trying to carry the whole mountain at once. Ask yourself, what is unbearable about this? And you'll find, it's not the whole mountain. It's just this step, just this breath, just this moment. That's where your strength lies, not in conquering everything, but in doing what's necessary, one step at a time. 12. You are the only one who can save you. No one else will come to rescue you. No one else can heal your wounds. No one else can rebuild your peace. No one else can choose for you. The Stoics understood this deeply. You are your own salvation. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need approval to continue. You don't need a sign from above. All you need is to look inward and choose. Choose to breathe. Choose to act. Choose to rise. Choose to be strong, not because it's easy, but because you've learned that no one else can do it for you. And that is your ultimate freedom.